Hi, Congressman. You have a couple minutes?
Sure. Who are you?
Michael Tracy with TYT. I was interested in something you mentioned before. Do you think that Washington D.C. municipal code, criminal code, is potentially applicable to the president?
Almost all. Okay, the Constitution says high crimes and misdemeanors. Almost all crimes are defined by state law. D.C. functions as a state for these purposes. You know, Donald Trump is
Even if the crime occurs on federal territory, though.
Of course. I mean, you know, Donald Trump has bragged that he could just shoot some random person on Fifth Avenue. Well, that wouldn't be a federal crime. That would be a state crime. It would be an impeachable offense. Yes, I mean, the vast majority of crimes committed in D.C. are violations of District of Columbia criminal statute. Only on very rare occasions does the criminal law of the federal government apply to anything, including shooting people.
Could you think of a precedent in which that standard applied to something, or would it be new legal territory?
We've impeached quite a number of judges, and others have been forced to resign. They are federal officers. We have forced congressmen into retirement or even threatened to expel them from Congress. And in many, many of those cases, it has been a violation of state law. And that, when I say the state, I mean the 50 states or the District of Columbia, which legally is the state for this purpose.
So, are you now insistent on impeachment as the only viable option here, or you haven't gone that far yet?
I'm watching to see whether Donald Comey says in public. Did I say Donald Comey? I'm getting confused, obviously. We'll scratch that part. I'm waiting to see whether Jim Comey says in public what he appears to have said to the New York Times.
One other question for you. In talking to people who populate these rallies, you see some of what you might consider paranoia in that you have a hammer and sickle logo that's on display. You have people postulating that treasonous activity has occurred as if that is already been factually substantiated. Do you think there's a danger of people getting a little ahead of themselves in terms of the fact pattern here?
Well, we haven't seen proof of the collusion. That's why we have a special counsel, to see whether there was collusion. What's interesting is that even if there was collusion, I'm not sure that determined the outcome of the election. I think it was TPP that determined the outcome of the election when you look at the 3 states that were critical that we lost.
And the burden of that would fall on Hillary Clinton, presumably, because she was seen as wishy-washy on that issue.
She was not a strong advocate for keeping out of TPP. But it doesn't matter. It's just like if there's obstruction of justice, the fact that it was incredibly incompetent obstruction of justice doesn't matter. And firing Comey seems to have added incredible new life to this investigation.
But do you think there's a danger that a certain amount of paranoia has been fostered in sort of the liberal activist core who would come to an event like this, who think that treason has occurred and who are using the Soviet iconography?
I don't use the word treason to describe this. As for paranoia, you've got a lot of people here with a lot of different views. Take a look at a lot of signs. I'm sure there's somebody here who's paranoid. Then again, I'm sure that's true wherever I go.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks.